Okay, it's again the Seder day, the Ptira of Yeshua Kalish and Adam Gadol Ad Ma'od, the special Jew, the Shamash to have an Aliyah, and he should be a Melis Yosha, Gans Klal Yisrael. Okay, we're up to, we began a sugya of Shishvinus, very interesting concept of Shishvinus, where a person would accompany, he would go to a wedding, and he would be Mesameach with the chassan. He would give gifts to the chassan, and the chassan would reciprocate. And it's not pshat that he can or he can't. I mean, he wants to. It's a chiyuv to reciprocate. And if he doesn't, he can make a claim in Beis Din. That's what we saw yesterday. It's a monetary chiyuv for him to go ahead and reciprocate if the shishvinas. He should reciprocate the shishvinas. So we're after kuf mem hey amid aleph. Kuf mem hey amid aleph. Now we said that if the shishvin dies, the one he's supposed to reciprocate, he says, he has to give it to the estate. He said, why do I have to give it to the estate? Give me the shishvin and I'll give it to you. Slim is just by kedushin. If a woman is mekudesh, the husband dies during erison, and they ask for the money back, she says, give me back my husband. She give me back my husband. So that's what we said, name it Tnuli Shishvini investment. She said, give me back my bali and I'll be happy. So we're going to discuss that concept of whether a person can claim, give me back my bali and be happy. So we're up to 4 lines down, Kuf Mem Hey Amid Aleph. Lema Tnuli Baili, give me my husband, Ve'esmach Imoy, and I'll be Mesamech with him. Tanoihi, whether it's Machloikas Tanoyim. The Tanya. Hamaris is Ishtoi. If someone goes ahead and is Ma'aris a woman, he gives a woman Kedushin. Besula Goiva Masayim, a Besula collects a Ksuba of 200. The Almana, and an Almana collects a Ksuba of 100. Now, let's bear in mind, fellas, there's two monetary chiyuv over here on the discussion. One, the collection of the Ksuba, and 2, the returning of the Kesef Kedushin. Kesef Kedushin and the Ksuba are 2 separate entities, right? You get the Kesef of the Kedushin, and you have the Ksuba. So now it says, Makom Shnagu Lahachse Kedushin, Machsirin. Makom Shnagu Shaloi Lahachse Kedushin, A Machsirin. So you have the Ksuba, and then you have whether you return it or not. Now it doesn't say what happens, whether he's dead or not. It just says a person's maris a woman, a basula is 200, almana is 100. A place where they return the kedushin, you return it. A place where they don't return the kedushin, a machzirin. Divi Reb Nassan. These are the words of Reb Nassan. Good. Comes along Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and seemingly repeats what Reb Nassan just said. Says Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, be'emes amru, be'emes we say, be'emes amru. Makam shenagu lahachser machzirin, in a place where the minig is to return it, you return it. Makam shenagu shaloi lahachser, in a place where the minig is not to return it, a machzirin, then we don't return it. But isn't that just what Rabbi Nassan said? He just said, right? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi Hainu Tanakama, he's saying the exact same thing as Rabbi Nassan, that you return it, that the place that you makam, you return it, you don't return it. Ella lav. Now let's go ahead and try to work out the machloikis between the two of them, and as a result, we'll see it's machloikis tanoyim whether you return kesef kedushin or not. Tenuli ba'aliv esmach imoy ikabinayu. The nafkamina between Reb Nassan and Reb Yehuda Hanasi, Rebbe, is whether if the husband dies, she can say, "Give me my husband, and I'll return the money or not." V'chusrei mechsera, and the brisa is missing words. V'hachiktani, and here's the way you have to read the brisa. Hama'aris esa isha. Someone goes ahead and he's Mekadesh a woman, Basula gets, if she's a Basula, guy from Masayim, she has a Ksuba of 200. The Almana, Mana. The Mamurim, the Hada Bay. When does she collect this money? Where he changes his mind. The Hada Bay Ihu. Aval Mesa, if she dies, Makam Shinagu Lahachzir, in a place where they're noyig to return, Machzirin, Makam Shinagu Shaloi Lahachzir, Ein machzirin, then you don't return. Okay, so minigs depends upon her death. Well, on her death, whether the kesef, whether it goes back to kesef kedushin or not. Ksuba, clearly you don't go ahead and collect. She's dead. The dafka b'shemesahi, do you go ahead and say it depends upon minig? Aval meishu, if he dies, ein machzirin, then you don't return it. My timer, yechali shetoimer tenuli ba'iliv esmach imay. So it says the Tanakama, says Reb Nassan, that you return the kesef kedushin is only if she dies, but if he dies, that would depend upon minig. But if he dies, she can collect. She doesn't have to return the kesef kedushin. If he dies, she doesn't have to return the kesef kedushin. Okay, so the minig it would be is if she dies, and if he dies, then then it's not tali and minig, and she would be able to go ahead and not return the kesef kedushin, claiming, "Give me my husband, and I'll be happy with him." V'yasser Rabbi Yehuda nasi l'meimar be'emes amru bein meis hu bein meisa he makom shenogu lahachzir machzirin makom shenogu shalachzir ein machzirin. V'loy matzi amra tnuli bali v'esmach imay. Okay, so here's the suggestion, guys. Going back over the Brisa, let's stick the words in. The Tanya, 5 lines down. Hamaris says Isha, Besula and what? And he changes his mind. Besula goiva Messiah v'amana mana. And if he dies, then makom shenogul lahachse kedushin machzirin, makom shenogul shlo lahachse kedushin ein machzirin. However, that's if she dies. If he dies, then she can claim that what? I want the money back. Where's my husband? She can say, my husband, I don't have to give you back. My husband's not here, and I don't have to give it back. So the minig is when she dies. When he dies, she can claim, give him my husband, and what? And I'll be happy with him. So she doesn't have to return the kedushin. Divrei Reb Nassan, Reb Yehuda Nasi, I mean no. Be'emes amru makom shenogul lahachzir machzirin. Whether he dies or she dies. Whether he dies or she dies, why? Because according to Rabbi, she's unable to claim that it depends upon minig, because she's unable to claim, give me my husband, I'll be happy with him. That the way we're interpreting the Brisa, we're suggesting that's Machlokes Tanoim. Reb Nassan saying she can claim it, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says she can't claim it. Is that okay? It was a little wordy. Good. So that bottom line is the Machlokes. Now, says the Gemara. Loi. It's not a machlokes tanoim. That's not pshat in machlokes to Yehuda Nasi and Rabbi. The kuliyal micholish shetaima tnuli baili ve'esmach imay. She can claim that. There's no machlokes. So what's then the pshat between the machlokes between Rabbi Nasi and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi? With the maisu kuliyal malei pligi. And if he dies, there's no machlokes. She can say, I don't have to give back the kesef kedushin. Ki pligi shemesa he, where she dies. And the shaila whether is the kedushin is tivu. That what? That if she dies and she's not zoicha to Rashbam says l'tivuyin nitnu shem tamus. If she dies, lo yiske no, he's not zoicha to marry her. You are vudim. They're lost. Lo yachsru loy. So that's the shaila whether you get back the kesef kedushin or not. Reb Nassan savar kedushin lav l'tfuyin nitnu, and you would get it back if she dies. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi savar kedushin l'tfuyin nitnu. Kedushin is l'tfuyin, and you wouldn't get it back. How can you say you don't get it back? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said if the minig is to give it back, you give it back. Says we're not speaking about the kesef kedushin. We're speaking about the marital gifts, the savlunos, and the gifts that they would send aside from the kedushin. Okay, and whether you get back the marital gifts, that's a machlokes. That's totally b'makam. So everyone would say that if he would die, right? Everyone would say that if he would die, that she can tie the what, give me my husband, I'll be happy with him. The shaila is when she dies. When she dies, does he lose the money or not? Again. When he dies, everyone admits that she gets it back, that she keeps it. She keeps it. When he dies, is a machlokes. When he dies, Rabbi Nassan's of the opinion that what he gets it back. If she dies, he gets it back. And Yehuda's of the opinion that what that you don't get it back. You keep it. For the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda said it is a minig, only a minig. And got minig is not going on the kedushin money; it's going on the wedding gifts. It's going on the jewelry that you would send. So now, bahani tanoi kahani tanoi, right? So a little wordy. Let's just reiterate what we just said. We wanted to suggest it's a machloikas tanoim whether she can say, if they'll give me my husband, I'll be happy with him. Turns out that's not the machloikas tanoim. We thought that was machloikas Rabbi Yehuda Nasi and Rabbi. It wasn't. Machloikas Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Rabbi is when she dies, and whether he loses the kesef kedushin or not. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nassim says that that you don't lose it, you get it back, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi claim no, that you do lose it. In the words of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, it said the minig is to give it back, you give it back. So what do you mean you lose it? So he goes, that makom and minig is not going on the kesef kedushin, it's going on the savlanas, which we didn't meet yet. Okay, it's going on that's totally a minig whether you give it back now. That's totally a minig whether you go ahead and get that back now. Okay, that's where we're holding. Kahani tanoi. Machloikas tanoim to Reb Nosson and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, right? That whether you lose the kesef kedushin or not when she dies is dependent upon this machloikas tanoim, the Tanya. Okay. Again, the machloikas tanoim, like Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said that you don't lose it, and Rabbi said that you do. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said you do lose it, and Reb Nosson said you don't. You don't lose it, right? That in itself is a machloikas tanoim. The Tanya. Kitsha b'kikar. He gave a kesef kedushin. He gave her a kikar. Guys, it's 2,500 zuz. He gave her a kikar of silver worth 2,500 zuz. Besula goiva masayim. The almana mana. The worth of, if she was a ksuba, she collects 200, and the almana collects 100. Good, right? And Divrei Reb Meir. This is from Meir, meaning the kesef kedushin is a kikar, and aside from the kesef kedushin, the 2,500 zuz you're going to collect 200 if you're a pesula and 100 almana, two separate entities. As I said, there's kesef kedushin and there's the ksuba. Says Reb Meir, keep them separate. The kesef kedushin is one thing, and the ksuba is another thing. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, besula goiva masayim. The almana mana, the ksuba, you collect 200, and the almana gets 100. Umachzerich loy es hashar, and you return back the kesef kedushin. In other words, you're going to go ahead and deduct you're not paying from the kedushin, from the kedushin. You really basically only collect your ksuba. You give back the kesef kedushin. You give back the kesef kedushin, right? It's 2,500. Just deduct the ksuba. So from the 2,500, you're going to give back. When she's a basula, you're going to give back 23, and she's on money, you're going to give back 24. So Rabbi says that what? Two separate things, no deduction, right? Rabbi Yossi says, Kitsha be'esrim. If you makadosh her with esrim. Esrim would be a total of 80. Kitsha be'esrim, 20 times 4 is 80. Right, 20 times 4 is 80. Noisin la shloishim chatzoyim. You give back what? 30 halves. You give back 30 halves, 15, which is 15 times 4 is 60. We're going to see that. I'll make the cheshbon in a second. Kitsha b'shloishim, noisin la esrim chatzoyim. Mayaskina. Okay, 3 sheetas. Ilema shemesa, that she died. Mi yislei ksuba, is there a ksuba? Vela shemes, who? He died. So now, amay machzeres lo shar. If he died, why is Rameya say you give back the rest? V'nema tenuli ba'aliv esmachimoy. Let her say, give me my husband, and I'll be happy with him. Ella, so that can't be the case. That can't be the case. So we want a case where we have machloikis, where Rameya says that you have collect the ksuba and the kedushin. Rabbi Yehuda says that you only collect the ksuba and you return the rest. And Rabbi Yossi says his din, which we have no idea what he's talking about yet. So now, what's the case? It can't be the case where she died, she's not collecting anything. So it must be the case where he died. Where he died, why does she have to give back anything? Let us say that what? Why should she give him back the rest? let us say, give me my husband, I'll be happy. So why are you giving back the rest of the kedushin? The Ella must be speaking. Be'eshes Yisrael shezinsa. She was arusa and she was mizaneh. And right, ubemai iberatzain. If she did it willingly, mias like ksuba, she doesn't have a ksuba. If she was an adulteress, the Ella must be ba'inus, that she was forced. So mishra shari lay. So l'chayr she's an einish. She's what? She's forced. She can stay married to him. Ve'ela be'eshes kayin. It's speaking by an eshes kayin. Shenen nasa. It was forced. Ubegedushin l'tevuyin nitnu kamikli. Okay, so now here's our rukimta. This whole brisa between Reb Meir and Reb Yosi and Reb Yehuda and Reb Yosi, the mitzias is it's a eshes kayin that was forced. Therefore she has to get divorced and she collects a ksuba. Okay, but them's the apples. An eshes kayin who was forced. An eshes kayin who was forced. And now she's going to collect her ksuba. And the question is, do you get what the kedushin back or not? Now, what did Meir hold, guys? Meir sava kedushin l'tivuyin nitnu. Therefore, you get everything. Again, what did Meir say? You get the kikar, and in addition, you get the 200. Let's keep it by a psula. And you get the 200. Why are you getting back the kikar? Because kedushin l'tivuyin. Kedushin is literally sunk. It's lost. You get your ksuba because you did nothing wrong. It's a biblical legality that a girl who is forced, so therefore she doesn't die, has to get divorced because she's married to a kohen. So we're looking at the two things: the kesef kedushin part, which is the kikar, the 2,500 zuz, and the 200. Why did she get to 200? She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. She has to get divorced. As I stay in the Torah, she has to get divorced. She wasn't forced. Dafkehidi Yisraelis, the Gemara makes a diak, but a kohen is not. That's the limud. So therefore, Reb Meir says you collect everything. Ksuba, you did nothing wrong, and you're collecting the 2,500. Why? Because kedushin is litfuyin. Once you give it, right? Unless she did something wrong, which she didn't, you have to keep it. Rabbi Yehuda said what? Rabbi Yehuda said you collect the ksuba from the kikar, right? So in our case, it's 2,500. You're going to collect 200 for the ksuba, and you're going to return to 23. Why? Because kedushin lav litfuyin. You don't lose the ket of kedushin. So that's the machlokes tanayim. Rabbi Yehuda savar lav litfuyin nitnu. It's lav litfuyin. So very geschmack. The machlokes we have between Reb Nassin and Reb Yehuda Nasi is in fact the machlokes between Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. Like Reb Yehuda. Good? How are we doing, guys? We're good? Now, what's Reb Yosi Shita? Reb Yosi with the hairs and the holes. Let's speak that out. Reb Yosi Mesafkale, he's Mesupik. Ilitfuyin nitnu Eloi. And so he's Mesupik what you do with the Kesef Kedushin. He doesn't know. The Hilkach. Kitsha be'esrim. Let's say you Makadasha with esrim. Now, esrim there's four slime the shekel. So therefore, esrim would be 80. 20 times 4 is 80. Now, your Mesupik, out of that 80, right? How much does she get? 20 shkolim is 80 zuz. So she's only entitled to 40. You're Mesupik, correct? Again, if you were sure, she'd lose the 80. If you weren't sure, she'd keep. In other words, if you say that it's le'ibud, she doesn't get anything. If you says it's not, she'd get all 80. Since I'm a suffix, what we do, you'll get 40. So from that 80, again, esrim is 80. It's four. Again, there are 4 shkalim. There are 4 zuz to a shekel. So therefore, 20 shkalim is 80 zuz. So you get 80 zuz. Out of the 80, you get 40. Then, but noisnin law, shloishim. You're going to give her what? Shloishim, which is 100, and you're going to give her like shloishim. It should be 120, but it's a half. It's shloishim. You're giving her shloishim halves, what? Which is a total of what? 60. So you have 60 and 80 is 140. It's speaking about an almana. So she's getting a ksuba of 100, she's getting money that should have been 80, but in Masupa you're getting 40. So that's the cheshbon of 140. He's going with an almana, not a basula. Again, we're speaking about a girl who was a baskoya, Eishes koyin, and was forced. So she's zicha gets a ksuba. There's no shaila. She was an almana. An almana can marry a koyin. Can marry a koyin gadol, can marry a koyin. Good. So now, 100 she's getting. The only shaila is the 80. Out of that 80, she's getting half because you don't know whether kedushin is tefillin or not. That's a total of 140. Just the Torah, the Gemara uses funny. The numbers are funny because they start off with a kika and it mixes you up a little bit, and then it uses halves. Nachtetzu. But let's just go through it one more time quickly. Rabbi Yossi Misafkale. He's mesupik, not in the ksuba, in the kesef kedushin. Ila tfuyin nitnu, and he loses it. Or it's not Litwin, he doesn't lose it. Hilchach. Kitcha be'esrim. If you mekadesh with 80, let's use the terminology, that's going to be the number 20 times with 80. Noisin law, shloishim chatzayim. You would, okay, now 80 entitled to 40, guys, right? 80 entitled to 40 LCF. You're going to give them shloishim chatzayim. Now, 30 full ones would be 30 times, would be 120. You're going to have halves, is going to be 60. So you're going to give it 60. 60 and 80 is 140. And okay, that works out. Why does it work out? 100 for the ksuba and 40 for what? For the kesef kedushin. Kitcher b'shloishim. If you're mekadosh with 120, so now she's entitled to 60, right? Entitled to 60. Noisin le'esrim chatzayin. You're going to give what? 20 halves. Again, it's what? It's 20 halves. It's 60. So you get, well, 20 halves is 60 plus 40, right? It's estimate would be 80. Would be 40. Half of 40 would be 20. Half of 80 would be 40. 120. 100 is 120 is 60, and half of 80 is 40. It's a total of about 100. Good. Rabbi Yosef Bar Yomi. Rav Nachman. Okay, I don't know how to. The gersa over here is a little funny. Let's keep this gersa, a new gersa. In Bavel, kol makom kimakom shenagu lahachzir machzirin. Bavel is a place that they were noig to return it. Okay, B'tirgma nahardoi. That was in Nahardoi. They returned the kesef kedushin. Shar Bavel mai. What about the rest of Bavel? Rabbi Rav Yosef Damit Shavayu. Mahoire hadre. The gifts they would send, they would return. Kedusha loy hadre, but the kedushin they would not return. Amra Papa Hilchasa Ben Shemes Hu, whether he dies. Ben Shemes he, whether she dies. V'Hadabehu, and he changes his mind. Moire hadre, the gifts go back. Kedusha loy hadre, you don't go lo hadre hadre. Loy hadre, and the kedushin doesn't go back. However, hadra ba, if she changes her mind, hadra ba'ihi, if she changes her mind, I feel the kedushin nami hadra, even the kedushin is going to go back. Amema says kedushin lo hadri, even if she changes her mind, the kedushin is not going to go back. In other words, if she gives back the money, they're going to say she was never mekudeshes, and then someone's going to be mekadesh a daughter. He can be mekadesh the sister. He can't be mekadesh the sister, right? Fellas, if she returns the money, you're apt to say there was no kedushin. Really, she should return the money. Alstine mominus, but I'm concerned about an isuri erev in the future, that the people could say he's mekadesh the sister because there never was kedushin in the first place. Therefore, don't return the money. If you're not going to return the money, you're going to know what for sure that they were married. Fred the Gemara, why you have another way to know they were married. The fact that she's receiving a get will show that you can't marry the sister. Afterwards, achas kushasai says Gemara Rav Ashi bedusahi. Rav Ashi's din is bedusa. It's not correct. Meaning we're not going to keep it as a given. We're not going to keep it as a given because of the following reason. It's true she gets a get, but there were people will hear that the kedushin money was returned, and they won't hear there was a get, and therefore they'll think that he can marry the sister. So to ensure that there won't never happen, right? Even though there's going to be a get, nonetheless, you don't return the money, so people will think that he's still married to her, and therefore it's not a good kedushin if he marries the sister. Shashvinas niglas with Bezdin. We said Shashvinas can be collected in Bezdin because it's a halva. Tanabanan, Chamisha Devarim Nemru b'Shashvinas. We can say 5 things about Shashvinas. Nigvis bebezdin. It's what it is collected in bezdin. 1, 2. The chayzeris ba'inasa, and it's returned ba'inasa. Says the Rashbam in the bottom. Kishiyisha ze isha yachsla sheshvinas v'lekoidim. You know when you return the sheshvinas when the sheshvin gets married, you don't return it. He goes to your wedding, and a week later you're going to go ahead and pay him back. You wait till he gets married. So it's returnable ba'inasa in the time of the marriage of the sheshvin. A third din, ve'ein ba mishum ribis. There's no din of ribis. There's no din of ribis because he could have given more, he could have given less. His das was not to go ahead and view it as a loan. He gives you a little more, a little less. Ve'ein shvius mishametis. There's no shvius can't take it off. If shvius passes, you still have a chiyuv to pay back the sheshvin. Ve'ein b'chor noitel ba pishnayim, and the b'chor does not want go ahead and take pishnayim. 5 dinim. Let's go over each one. Nigvis bebezdin, it's collected in bezdin. My timer, kimil v'damya, it's like a halva. So halva is collected bebezdin. Ve'im b'mishum ribis, the labadaiti dehachi yavla. He didn't give it to him that you gave me this, I'll give you more. He can give him less also. It's a gift. In other words, it's very funny. It's like it's a halva that's a gift. You gave it to him, and now you're paying him back. It's not like you. It's nigmis bezdin, but it's not mamish a halva that shevadin ribis on it. You want to give him a little more, you give him a little more less. Because you can't collect it in Shemitah year. Shemitah year if you can collect it, then it's not collectible. This depends upon when you get married. So let's say guy gives a loan in Gemara Mishnah Makis. The guy gives a loan for 10 years. Shvius is not mishamid it because it's not collectible in the 7th year. So who are then over here? It's not collectible till the guy gets married. Since it's not collectible, the guy gets married, it's not considered lo yigosh. Since it's not lo yigosh, therefore it's not subject to shvius b'mishamid. Like reading lo yigosh. Because it's not considered he's holding on to it. It's roy. Right? The bechor is he does not get pishnayim on something that is what that comes in the future, but it's not holding on now. Amrav Kahana. What's the klal shvinus? Here's the following rule. Havi b'masa. If you're in the city and you hear the guy's getting married, you have to come bim sameach. If you're not in the city, however, shama kol tavla, you hear the bells ringing, you have to come. Lo shama because you're too far. Kol tavla because you're too far away. Then the chassan should have informed you. You should have got the invitation, right? And since he didn't inform you, then tarumas islay aleha, you could have a taina on him. However, shlume mishama, you still have to pay him back. In other words, he came to your wedding, he was misameach you, he went ahead and he gave you gifts, and now you don't know about his wedding because he didn't inform you about the wedding. You can have tarumas on the wedding, but nonetheless, there's a chiyah for you to pay him back. Yad kama, how much do you have to pay? Now, the reason why there's a deduction, fellas, is because you didn't partake of the meal. So you have to pay, but you weren't at the Suda. So since you weren't at the Suda, you're going to make that deduction. The Gemara wants to know, how does that deduction work? The Gemara wants to know, Ad Kama, how much is that deduction for him not failing to invite you to the wedding, and now you weren't part of the Suda? So Amar Abaya, Nagu B'nei Genana, the people who are the Genana with the Chupis, Adzuza Aise B'kape, Achle B'krise. If he would give you a gift of a zuz for the sheshvin, he's not chayav to give you anything because the chayre he would have eaten the zuz. So since he missed the suda and he missed out on the zuz, he doesn't have to go ahead and give you the zuz. So if this guy usually gives the zuz and he misses the meal, he doesn't have to give you anything. At arba, let's say he gives from 1 to 4, then mishalim lepalga. So he pay you 2. He pay you 2 for but because you missed out on the suda. Anything more than 4, inish kechashivusa. Each person according to what their own chashivus. When you don't go ahead and invite him, it's how much you mechaber him with meaning madanim. Then you make that deduction. Tanurabanim. Asa imay shusvin bepumbi. When he went to his friend, he was shusvin. It was bepumbi. It was public. A lot of people there. However, bikish lasas imay b'tzina. He wants to go ahead and do it clandestinely. Yachaloy malay. his chaver who had done publicly is able to tell him, "Bepumbi esa imcha kiderash asisi imi." Go ahead, I want you to do it bepumbi publicly, like I did with you. Asa imay b'besula. If he attended the wedding of a besula, upikesh lasasim b'almana. Yachal, the one who he attended the wedding when he was a besula, lamaloi besula esa imcha kiderash asisi imi. You should swim by a besula like I did with you. In addition, asa imay b'shniya, a second wife, ubikesh lasasim b'rishayna, the first wife. Yachal lamaloi kisha tinase isha acheres, when I marry another wife, esa imad imcha. I'll do it with you. When you marry another wife, I'll do it with you. Asa imay ba'achas, ubikesh lasas imay b'shtayim. He did it with one. He wants him to do it with two. Basically, tit for tat. Whatever you do, I'll do it with you. Tanrabana. Different types of Talmidei Chachamim compared to wealth. There are some who are compared to Ater Nichsin. There are Talmidei Chachamim that appear to a person who is rich in Nichsin, in property. He's rich in property. He has lands, he has vineyards, he has olive groves. And there are those that are Ater Bepumbi. They have what? They're public, they have a lot of animals, let's say. They're known to have a lot of money and a lot of animals. Zehu Balei Gadis. These people that are known, they're known by their fact of the lands they have, or the animals they have, or the money they have. These are compared to Balei Hagadis. Balei Hagadis with Darshan Barabim in the base medrash, and they would have a large crowd. So this is like large crowd to hear their chachma. So it's similar to publicity of having a lot of property or a lot of money. The itim sloyim. There are those who had what, like sloyim. They always have money to change by the money changer. And the chen atir tekoya, they have a lot of, according to the Rashbam, a lot of oil, like from the town of Tekoya. Zeu bal pilpul. This is not Balei Hagadis, these are bal pilpul. They know how to be mefalpul in Torah, and they're compared to a shulchani who changes coins, and an oil merchant, a person that's out of oil. And why? That they're meviach each day, a little bit. So too the pilpul, who's Ma'aber Rabim, he's compared to these that they do a little bit. The yesh daimim, they're those who compare to la'ater mishach, a person who measures things. Ater kamas, a person who goes ahead and has a lot of tzvua. They're mistachrim ba'tamid. They don't do business all the time. Sometimes they put away their stuff in a eitzer, and when it comes the right time to sell, they sell. Say bali shmuos. These are people who know halachos and members of a meroyim, and when it comes time to use them, they use them. Hakol tzrichim l'mar chitaya. Everyone needs, however, the ones who are compared to chitim, who are compared to what? To wheat, because you can't live without wheat, and that's the Bal Gemara, it's not possible to live without his explanation of the Gemara. So we're comparing different Talmidei Chachamim to various amount of money that people would have. Amar B'Seira Amar Rav, my dichsiv, kol yemei ani royim, all the days of an ani are beard. Say Bal Gemara. This refers to what? To a Bal Gemara, right? Who's killing himself to understand the Gemara, to understand reasoning. The toiv leiv mishta tamid, and the person who's toiv leiv, he's drinking all the time. Say Bali Mishnah. They learn the Mishnayos, and they don't have to be mechab in the halachas, so it's an easier derech limud. So therefore, they're toiv leiv. Rabbi Amar Ibcha. Rabbi says it's the opposite. He said that kol ani royim is a Bali Mishnah, that they're able to go ahead and pass him because they just learn Mishnayos. And who's toiv leiv mishta tamid is the Bali Gemara who come to a conclusion. In the name of Rava, my dechsiv masia avonim yi'atsev. The person that is cutting out the avonim, he'll be tired by him. But keya eitzim, but the one who cuts eitzim yisachim behem will be warmed by them. Masia avonim yi'atsev behem. Who is that? Elu Bali Mishnah. They go ahead, they teach halachas every day, and they have the tsar of working very hard, but they don't come to a bottom reasoning. However, by Kea Eitzim Yisachim Behem, they'll have enough from them, Elu Bali Gemara, because they know to paskin, and therefore they're compared to by Kea Eitzim, who could use it right away. Chanina Amar, Kol Yimei Ani Rayim, Zesh Yesh Leisha Ra. Every time this is a person who has a bad life, because he has a bad wife. The Toiv Leiv Mishta Tamid, Zesh Yesh Leisha Toiva, he has a good wife. Person who has a bad wife, nothing is good. Person who has a good wife, nothing's bad. Rabbi Yani Amar, Kol Yemei Ani Royim Ze Istanis. That's a person who's very, very, very particular in his foods, in the different things in life, finds difficult, very, very particular eater. So he's compared to what? He's compared to an ani. The Toivle Mishta Tamid, other Shadati Yafa, he can eat anything. He has no problem. Right? He doesn't have a limited menu. Right? That's the Toivle Mishta Tamid. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Kol Yemei Ani Royim, Ze Rachman. The person what is a Rachman? He worries all the time about people. The Toivle Mishta Tamid is the Achzari. Right? Adam Shum Achzari al Rishoyim. He's cruel to Rishoyim. So if you're Rachman on everybody, you're considered Kol Yemei Royim. But if you're an Achsa on a Russia, you're in a good place. Yeshua ben Levi, I'm a Kol Yemei Ani Royim. Zeshe Daita Ketzara. He's cheap. He gets angry. He's cheap. He's short-minded. A generous person who is generosity. He's giving the water. I have a saying like water goes off him like a duck's back. You know, there are people who are thick-skinned, there are people who are thin-skinned, and then there are people who doesn't even get to their skin. It goes off water like a duck's back. It doesn't bother them. Such people. Anything you tell them, they're such happy people. Nothing bothers them, right? So it's geschmack. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Kol Yemei Ani Royim. All these are on Royim is what? Literally, that all the days of money are bad. They don't know what to eat. They have Shabbos and Yontif, so they do have what to eat Shabbos and Yontif. Says the Mar Kiddush Shmuel. Dama Shmuel, Shinui Veset Techilas Chayli. Since the ani is not accustomed to eating food, when it comes to Shabbos and Yontif, and he eats good food, what happens to him? His stomach bothers him. Right? Later after the war, right? The concentration camp survivors, many of them died because they were ingesting food. They couldn't handle it. So the ani who's not used to eating, all his days are bad. Even Shabbos Yantiv are bad because he's going to get sick as a result of eating food that he's not accustomed to eating. Ksiv v'Sefer ben Sira, we're familiar with that. There's a Mefusha blog on that. Ben Sira is, remember, he was the person who could have been conceived in a batya. But the bottom line, from Yirmiyah, I think, from Yirmiyah, Ben Sira, he wrote a book, and he's quoted from time to time in the Gemara. Kol Yimei Ani Royim, Ben Sira Aimer, Af Leila. It's not only the days, but even the nights. Right? Even the nights, because they're worried. The ani is that what? He doesn't have what to buy, a place to sleep. It's Ella Bishvil Ganim Gagai. What bothers him is he's sleeping, and the dripping of the roof is dripping on his roof because he's in the worst spot. Mimtar Gagim Legagai. Baroim Harim Karmoi. So when he sleeps, he's in the lowest spot and the water is dripping on him. When he goes ahead and he's able to get a piece of land, he gets the piece of land that's highest on top. And then when he goes ahead and fertilizes it and the wind comes along, it blows all his fertilizer off. It goes ahead and it falls out from his, it goes to what? It falls to the krumim of the people that are below. So Beroim Harim Karmoi may offer Karma Lakrumim. It goes from his to others.